Good morning. Welcome to DG in the Morning on DG360. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel, to the live stream, the internet, some type of object in which you are viewing me in, phone, screen, whatever it may be, in your head. Perhaps it's imaginary, and I'm not really talking to you right now. Go get some help. What I wanted to show everyone here, this this dashing young man here with the shaven metrosexual kind of style here. A lot of you would look at this dude, at least my audience, and they'd be like, "Oh, this guy, I don't know what DG's even going to watch here. What does this have to do with anything? Is he going to dance? Is he going to strip next? No." This dude is somebody I've been watching for years. This guy is like a self-made dude. He started off with literally nothing, and now he's got like multi-million dollars, and he just spouts. He just spouts on the internet, which I've always respected. This dude's name is Becker. I'm a financial dude, as some of you know. I've been trading. In fact, when I first started trading, it was 2008 in the mortgage-backed security crisis, the MBS crisis, the housing crisis, right? If you ever seen the movie, The Big Short, then you know what I'm talking about at least a little bit. Go check that movie out if you have not. It is a wonderful movie about greed, human nature, money. It's a really interesting look into Wall Street. This dude has kind of surfed his way through it. Gordon Gekko would tell you the greed is good. Greed supports capitalism, all these things. The charts are like musical notes and instruments. I don't really always think greed is good, really figures. But in order for capitalism to work, there has to be a demand, right? Anyway, I'm not going to get into the economic talks. I know a lot of people fall asleep when I talk about it. But this guy, he's always very high energy, kind of spitting truth bombs here. So let's see what Alex has to say.
Young man, the Matrix,
I'm old,
the WEF, whatever you want to call it, the elite establishment, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, the evil government, whatever. This is not affecting your life.
Whatever.
It's not controlling you. This is not impacting you. By focusing on this, you're getting the exact opposite of what you're trying to achieve, which is freedom and power.
I mean, like, so far pretty true. Like, so far pretty true. I've been watching this dude for years upon years. I've always respected his ability to just get to the heart of the matter, just to say it like it is. You got kids that are like surfing out there for like the next 30-second bite, their little cocaine hit, and then to the next, to the next, to the next, doing their little bumps on the internet. And all this dude is saying right now at the very beginning of this intro is just like, hey, you know, maybe step back a little bit. Maybe step back a little bit and realize what you're actually involved in. That like maybe the world could not be as stressful as you think. Maybe all the clickbait BS that's trying to monetize you, maybe everything that you're hearing in the world, maybe not is not the way that it appears to be.
You're sitting around right now affected by this based culture that's infecting the internet, which is really just a ploy to use your frustration to gain your attention for the enrichment of others. You might be sitting around thinking the world is terrible. The world's just the worst thing that's ever existed.
It's not. It's really not. The world is not that. I mean, okay, we got some bad things happening. First off, let's be real. We got a lot of bad things happening. The world lately has never been so crazy in my entire life. But on the flip side of things, perhaps you're being inundated with badness. Perhaps like it's just in your eye sockets 24/7. And that's all you're feeding off of, like a piranha hungry. Just next thing. Your own DNA, your code is making you click on the clickbait. It owns you. It owns you like a little bitch. You have to take a moment and you have to like step back from that, and you got to be like, okay, really, I got to unplug. I mean, like at the end of the day, you have to unplug. Right,
it's not.
Right, fingers, right.
This might be contrary to what you're reading on Twitter and your Discord channels. It's not. I've sat in my house for the last 15 years in gym shorts, quite like I am right now.
I'm in boxers.
haven't left my house. I've built multiple businesses and generated hundreds of millions of dollars. I have a six-pack. I have really good health.
Okay, listen, I don't have a six-pack. I don't have that much money. Okay, you asshole.
I have a nice girlfriend. I have a big house. And
I have a nice girlfriend.
This coming out of the
I have a nice girlfriend sometimes. Sometimes I do. Sometimes.
Military. I was definitely part of the Matrix then. Look at me there. Look at me. I'm just ready to go punch babies and stuff.
Oh, that was an awkward stare after that. I mean, like he was in the military. He was part of the Matrix. That was a little awkward stare from Alex right there. That looked a little too real. Like he actually punched a baby or somebody, or he saw that shit. That's a little scary, man. Hold on a second. I got to rewind this. Man. Maybe he's seen a lot of shit. I bet he's seen a lot of shit, dude, to motivate him to be the man that he is today. I guarantee it.
I have a big house, and I did this coming out of the military. I was definitely part of the Matrix then. Look at me there. Look at me. I'm just ready to go punch babies and stuff.
This awkward look after saying that.
How was I able to do this? It's because the world isn't that bad. At no time in this 15-year period did the Matrix or Klaus Schwab or some evil establishment elite show up at my house.
You're right. He's not punching babies in the Air Force. He's not even on the ground. He's up in the air dropping bombs on millions of people's fingers. You're right.
And stop me from working or ruining my business.
He never got
force
that
me
close
to eat
to
cupcakes and adopt bad health or use TikTok. It never happened. Not once. They never came a single time. The Matrix is not in the room with you right now. It's right. Probably not coming to your house. Klaus Schwab is not going to show up and stop you from hitting what you want in life. I hate to break it to you.
That's because it's easy to make excuses to not get where you want to be. It's easy to make excuses. I get him where he's talking about on that point. It's easy to make excuses and say, like, this is the reason, that's the reason, these are the reasons why I'm not getting to where I'm getting at. But peace out, Mary. Peace out, Mary. She's like, I can't handle this talk about punching babies. This is ridiculous. DG, I'm done. I'm not supporting you anymore. I can't handle you, DG. She's out. Mary can't handle the talk right now. I understand, Mary. It's a bunch of male bullshit. Just a much. Mary's like, I can't handle all this testosterone in the room right now. I'm watching DG, and now I'm watching a dude with a shaven chest, for God's sake. Mary's like, hell no. She's one of the boys. She's like, I'm starving. Go eat, Mary. Thank you for being here. Was that a trip last night on the stream when Rob showed up again? That was a trip last night, Mary. Thanks for hanging out last night at the party last night, dude. That was a trip.
What everyone is complaining about in the space culture, it's just 1960s hippie culture where people get together and complain and moan and blame everyone else for something that's gone wrong in their life.
He's right.
But unlike the 1960s, you're living in the best time to ever possibly be alive. You are more empowered. You have more access.
He's right.
And if you're watching this video on a streaming service right now, you have more connections to do anything and achieve anything in your life than any other human has in human history. But you know what the problem is? You know what the point of this video is? Instead of taking hold of that and using that to make yourself an extremely wealthy man and get all the things you want out of life right now, you're sitting around being frustrated and distracted and trying to figure out these problems that you can't solve and are also not really affecting you. This is just a culture war, like a culture war has always been going on in the United States or around the world for literally forever. And if
yes, you're not gonna hate me. Yes.
This is why I watch this dude. I find a lot of similarities, not in money, not in wealth, not in health, obviously. I mean, look at this amazing, look at this pastiness right here. Wouldn't you rather have this? Ladies out there, I mean, look at this bold, sexy Adonis. Obviously, you're going to choose me over this guy. Hold on one second.
I'm in a fountain.
Hold on a second. Let me get these on here. Thank you, baby. There we go. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second here. Let me just get this going on here. Let's just get this going on here. I just got to get that right. And let me get the headphones going on. There we go. That's a lot of bald head, Pepe. This is a little too much bald head, dude. We're going to go with it. We're doing it live.
15 years from now, there'll be another culture war, and this culture war will have forgotten about you and all your attempts and ploys and schemes to try and change it, and it will pay you back no ROI. It'll just leave you behind like a red light used hooker. The influencers that you are paying attention to and worshiping right now, they'll leave with all the courses and CDs and books and nonsense.
Dude, he's so right. Everybody on the internet right now is just trying to suck money from other people. it is literally so terrible to see what it's turned into. What if, because it's saturated, like people in this field, like everybody wants their own show, and we know which one's best. We know which one's best. I'm doing exactly what it is that I'm pissed off about that I see on the internet, but I'm doing it better. Thank you very much.
Since they've sold you, they'll leave with that money, and then they'll just go hang out with their family and friends, and they'll just be like, ah, man, we were really angry back then. But you will pay the price because you're sitting around angry, frustrated, and distracted when, at this moment right now, I again stress, you're living in the best time to ever be a human. You might tell me, oh, it's so bad right now. The government is evil. They're doing all these weird, evil things. Yeah, that's completely true. There's a bunch of evil, and it seems like satanic people running all the tech companies and the corporations, and they're all together trying to take away rights and do all sorts of weird stuff. Oh, yeah, it does seem bad. But you know that the Matrix used to be a lot worse than this, right? You know, like just a few generations ago, there was no internet. There was no...
Dude, a lot of shady shit went down before the internet was invented, dude. Like, a lot of people got away with shit before the internet. Now everybody's got a phone and a cam and the internet connection in the palm of their hand, dude. Dude, he's right. Like, dude, back in the day, could you imagine the craziness that happened, that people got away with, the crazy shit that people happened back in the day? Like, now, nobody can go anywhere without everybody knowing you farted, for God's sake. You know, it's crazy.
Opposing view. You couldn't go and separate truth from lies. You had to go with the system that was laid out. You had to go to college. You had to do all these things. You had to get a loan from the banks. There was no other education source because all there was books.
Hey, what's
and you
up,
know what the Matrix
Charmington?
liked to do then? It liked to show up at your house and ship you off to Vietnam. Oh, you think being censored from Twitter or
Yeah, he's so right. People are babies these days crying, dude. I mean, like our parents had to deal with the draft, man. And some people's grandparents, but like my parents had to deal with it. My dad ended up going to the Coast Guard, man. He was lucky. My dad was in the fire department in the Coast Guard out in California. I can't remember where he was based, but you know, like he got lucky, man, because most people got shipped off to Nam, and that shit ain't happening today. People are worried about being canceled on a platform. Get out of my face, man. Before my father's generation, my grandfather was in Pearl Harbor getting kamikazed and bombs dropped on him. You know, I mean, like, and now, what is that saying about weak men create good times and good times create weak men? Isn't there a saying about this? I feel like we're on the tail end of that, on the weak part. You know, he is so right.
YouTube is bad right now. Imagine some guy coming up to your house and goes, hey, you're going to go fight a bunch of angry Vietnamese people in tunnels, and they're just going to want to kill you, and they just hate you. That would have been really bad. You know, in American history, there was once times where we had to pay 90% taxes. You didn't even get to keep your money. If you look back through the records of all the nonsense that's gone on in America, you'd realize that this is not even like peak nonsense. You're actually doing okay right now.
Right.
Now, am I saying that
right.
you should overlook and not be aware of what's going on in the world and everything's going on? No, I have multiple passports. I'm very aware of everything that's going on. It's one of the reasons why I'm making this video, and I don't focus on this because the only way to really deal with these things is to gain power and influence, which ties into the point. Is Andrew Tate right that there's elite people running the world and doing all sorts of weird stuff that we don't like right now? Yes, he's 100% right. There's nothing you can do about it. And I hate to break this to you. This is how humans have worked forever. It's not some...
It's humans, because humans, man. It's because humans.
New thing. Like people
What's
on
up,
Twitter
Captain
acting like
Thorne? Good
humans
to
have
see
been
you,
like
man.
these
Welcome
ethical
home.
creatures for like the last 100 years. But suddenly when TikTok came online and OnlyFans popped up, we really hit the nail. Oh, things have gone overboard now. No, you silly goose. If you look at the pharmaceutical industry, look at the health industry, and all the poisons that are being shipped to us right now, all the manipulation.
I think it's deeper than that, Fingers. Like, he's basically saying, like, that's always been in us as a human species. Like, it's always written into our code. I think you can fight up against that if you do stand up. I like where Fingers is coming in on this because I think that's a valid point, Fingers. Like, I think that there should be some level of like standing up to that bullshit so that your world becomes a better world. So like, I like what you said there, Fingers. That is definitely on point. Hold on, Fingers. We're playing your button, dude. I dig where you're coming from on that, man. You and I, very similar. Some of us not so healthy. Some of us not as healthy as others here.
Of us. This is how it's always been. This is how it's always been. Businessmen have gained power by creating addictive products or manipulative products, and they've used it to make lots and lots of money. This has been going on for hundreds of years. If you look at the Industrial Revolution, oh man, if you
he kind of does have a little bit of a defeatist mindset. I like what the chat is saying because, you know, I watch this dude on occasion. I'd say like once a month, once every other month or so to see what he's up to. Guy made some really good trades. Guy made some serious money. He's got a lot of good ideas on the Web3 space and what's happening out there. Good picks. But you're right. Like, it's interesting when I get to read what you guys are saying as you watch this with me. He does have a little bit of a defeatist attitude on humanity, and I'm against that. I honestly think that we can change our reality if we stand up and fight and make our environment a better place if we stand up and fight for what it is that, like, we believe in. So that's a very interesting thing because, like, he has a very defeatist attitude on humanity in itself. And I can understand where that comes from. I mean, a lot of times you're just like, oh, humans. Like, how many times do you think that a day? I know I think that a day quite often. I see something that upsets me like 3 times a day at least. Like, it's a 3 time a day. It's a 3-course meal, man. It happens all the time, man. It happens all the time to me. And then I go like this. I go, oh, humans. You know what I mean? So I get where he's coming from on that. I get where he's coming from that. I think we can be more. You know? It is a bit demoralizing. You guys are really putting down some truth bombs. You guys are putting some truth bombs down in the chat right now.
look at the stuff Rockefeller and Carnegie did. Look at what all those industrial titans did. You think our billionaires are bad? But the truth of the matter is, there's never been a time in history where weak or average people were not treated like cattle. Is that nice? Does that make me sound like an elitist? Yes, it does. But I don't want to sit here and lie to you. The only people who have done well in the world, in the history of the world, are people that have obtained power, wealth, worked really hard, made themselves very valuable, and that's it. There's never been a point in the world where a handful of families...
Well in the world compared with what, right? Now you guys got me being like a skeptic. Well in the world as opposed to what? Right? Like, what is really well? Like, what is the most important thing about you being a human? Is it power or is it wealth? Not for me. I think more it's like relationships. As a Capricorn male, I am driven. I do want to strive to become the best, to be as successful as I can in the civilized world, for whatever that means. It's only civilized until one bad thing happens so much that it's uncivilized. You got yourself in a whole nother situation. That's a human condition. But what I'm trying to say is that collectively, I think what we can end up saying here is like, whatever well is for you, being feeling good about yourself doesn't necessarily have to be connected to wealth. It doesn't have to.
Families, they control everything. There's 150, 200 families. There's no governments. There's just these families. They control everything. That's how it is. There's this game. There's this system. And the only way you can actually do well in the system is you gain enough money and power that you can leave the system, or you can at least defend yourself from the system.
He's right about that in terms of getting out of the game of life. Like, I always call money freedom units. I don't care what country you're from. Your paper currency, your fiat, they are just symbols of other people's debts and woes and worries. And you obtain them and you become rich off of that. You become wealthy off of other people's debt. It's essentially the system here. What we're trading our freedom. We're trading our freedom around. The interesting thing about debt in the form of system that we have right now and how we ship debt as a country, America, shipping debt to all these other countries using the dollar as the global fiat currency, the dollar being so important. You're seeing a lot of countries start to realize the power that that has, and they're trying to get away from the dollar. And you're seeing it in the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. You're starting to see a different narrative form on how to get away from America's debt, because we're consumers, because we've lived off debt, because we rigged the game. I mean, everybody knows we did. We got off the gold standard. We're printing money, man. And essentially that system are other people's collective debts, their worries, their woes. And when you take the money, the fiat, the paper, and you possess it, you're possessing other people's woes and debt and worries, and it elevates you. So I've always viewed currency and fiat as freedom units. I call them freedom units. Christy laughs at me all the time. She's like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "I'm out driving right now. I'm collecting my freedom units." He's right. In order to get yourself out of the game that you're in, if you just decide to live in a civilized world and a culture of some sort where you're relatively secure and safe, you have to buy your way out of the game. You have to collect enough of that debt of other people's woes and worries to gain your own freedom, so that you don't have to worry about the rat race that money puts you in, that debt puts you in, the greed puts you in. That your own collective DNA and how it's written, that grade imposed that upon the other people around you to benefit, because people saw it. Now, but money's not only that. Money's a unit of transaction. Money's more than just that as well. You know, if you want to get into actual money and value and worth, and not so much fiat, if you want to talk about money and transactions, well, that's important. Humans had to figure out a way to trade one thing for another tangibly so that it equaled. I won't even get into that talk. Let's get back into this.
Or you have choice inside the system. If not, you get moved on to the cattle lane. That's how it is. Now, here's the point of this video. This is the one time in history where you actually have the power to escape all of it. It's the best time to ever be alive.
He's right.
At any point in time, you can get on the internet and learn how to do anything. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to fall for loans. You have access to all the health information you could ever need. This is the absolute best time, most empowered time for any human to be alive. You sitting here right now have the power to build incredible wealth, incredible health, incredible lifestyle simply by effort alone. This is not something that anybody had. Even 20 years ago, the internet didn't exist. When I first got into business, it was impossible to find people teaching you how to do business, reach optimal health. You had to dig deep in the forums. Now there's people volunteering it willingly on YouTube. People are experts at it. There was no Alex Hormozy 15 years ago teaching people to run businesses.
Right. There are so many experts out there with how-to guides and monetization, you know, to suck in that monetization. There's so many dudes out there. It's like, make $7,000 a week with AI. One thing that I like about him is that he has never really, he's done a couple shilly things, but not to the point where you're like sickly absurd by it.
There was no endless weightlifting and fitness channels teaching you how to get perfect health. There was just weird little forums where you just chatted. You just go to bodybuilding.com and be like, hey, does anybody know like how to eat protein powder right? That's how the world was. And you're telling me it's so hard right now. You can get on the internet, you can clearly see what's a truth or a lie. It's so easy to see what the mainstream media is lying about. It's so easy to see who's full of crap. It's so easy to see what systems have been built
when
that are
manipulative
started, and don't help.
Figure says he's a millionaire, so he shouldn't need to show. Yeah, no, he doesn't these days. But like when he first started, and that was quite a while ago, he would. But you know, like you see that a lot with content creators. I'm not giving that a pass. I don't like to do that show. I've got a blood oath where like I won't ever put like a commercial in the middle of my like, hi, HelloFresh. Do you like HelloFresh? Well, we call Goodbye Nasty, because I will never put that in my, I won't do that. I've made a blood oath to you all. I don't like that. I don't like watching content like that. So that will never be in my content, even at my own expense. I just can't deal with it. And I have integrity. I just won't. By the way, get mounted. This message brought to you by Predator Mounts. That was so perfect, Hugh. Hugh, that was so perfect, dude. Give Hugh a raise. I want you to give Hugh a raise, man. He cued me in on that. That was perfect.
help people, like colleges, for example. Just go look. It's just right there. And you're telling me it's bad. Everyone's brainwashed. No, people used to actually really be brainwashed because there was no other counter media. Now you have it. You are empowered. Everything in your life is good.
That's not true.
And if you just use these tools, Klaus Schwab, I promise you, is not going to...
For the most part, that's true. But, like, people have a lot of things going on in their life where they're probably not even thinking about this either, man.
Show up at your house and try and tar and feather you. Yeah, some really weird things have happened, but your only way out of it is putting your head down and focusing and getting the fucking work. There's never been a time in history where a bunch of whiny complainers got together and changed anything. Look at the 1960s hippie. There's a Vietnam War going on, and the government was doing all...
This is what I talk about. I know this is off topic, but this is what I say about this game I'm watching, or that I'm following and playing for 10 plus years, called Star Citizen. And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, so this is bad, and oh, this is bad, and this is bad, and this is bad, and this is bad, and they're all making the this is bad content. And I understand there's a spot, there's a time, there's a place for constructive criticism, but a lot of the times I don't ever see it as constructive criticism on this product. I see a bunch of people jumping on the gravy train, trying to get clicks, trying to get you guys monetized, trying to basically use you is what they're doing. And this isn't just in Star Citizen, but this is for other things as well. And I see so many people jump on that train, but I don't see people that are actually like, hey, let's be a dreamer. Let's get on the wagon where we're actually positive. Let's make something happen. You've never seen any advancements in human history happen from the people that just whined and complained. Totally agree with him. If we went with that logic and that narrative that the people who whine and complain and go with the clickbait, if we go with that narrative and say, oh yeah, sure, they've done things too, I guarantee you we wouldn't have a car or electricity, light bulbs. We wouldn't have planes. We wouldn't have rockets. We wouldn't have all these great technologies that we do today without dreamers, without people that decided that they wanted to get up and do something with their life and push forward no matter what people who are naysayers say. Because at the end of the day, it takes courage, it takes strength to be the guy that can shut it out, all the fucking noise out, all the bullshit, and just focus forward and keep going no matter how crazy it gets. And that's, again, getting back to Star Citizen. It's this crazy project. It's this game that's going to give you like the everything experience in games. It's got a huge scope to it. It's going to take a long time, and nothing really has ever been built like it, comparatively speaking, in the game development world ever. And all the experts who are experts that talk about the news and the leaks and opine and to give you the opinions on this project, most of them go for clickety-clack and they tell you nothing but like bad stuff. It seems like the experts don't realize the scope of the project either, because the experts that report on Star Citizen, they don't take a moment to think about the scope and the reason why it's taken so long. I will say 9 out of 10 Star Citizen content creators are just going to bust on it for that easy cash. They're going to bust on it. Listen, this might never become a reality. Star Citizen might never become a reality. You know, it might not. It's a fun journey. I'm having a great time meeting people from it. But it might not. It might not happen. But don't you want to be part of the team that actually like wants to make it happen, understands the scope of it, fight for it? Don't you want to be the people that actually push it through? Don't you want to be the people that are on the team that's trying to make things happen? Get mounted. This message brought to you by Predator Mounts. It was useful. I had to. It was
all sorts of loopy stuff, and Richard Nixon was corrupt and blah, 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 blah. All these people got together and they just, the establishment's bad, they're manipulating us, the man. Does this sound, similar to what's going on right now? There is all these hippie leaders leading all these people and also selling stuff on the side and making money from it. And at the end of all of it, the culture war moved on. The elites did nothing. They didn't change anything because they don't care what you have to say. It doesn't matter. You have to have power to affect them. They moved on. All the people and influencers then, they moved on. All the people that sat around griping and whining were distracted the whole entire time and wasted all their time, all their energy and focus. They were just left behind. They got nothing. And that's going to happen to you if you get involved in all this based culture war influence stuff. You are living.
You're getting lost in the bullshit, you know? I'm happy my kids aren't that plugged in. I think there was a point in time where both of them were. But man, when you see, if you're a father and you see your kids start to just get lost in the matrix, you got to pull them out. Like if you're a dad, listen to me. If you're a dad and you even detect a whiff of that, you got to pull them out and get them in the forest, get them somewhere in nature, have them unplugged, get them back to grassroots, man. It's so good. It's so healthy for them. They realize how big the world is, that it's not so fucking connected as they think, because they get so, I'm telling you what, I would not want to be the age that my children are living in this generation, man. It gets crazy seeing what's happening. Like it's like a mindless thing, watching kids like go numb and just, and like I get worried, man. I get worried. I talk with Christine about this a lot. I'm like, man, if we were in the 90s, or when we were in the 90s, if we could take ourselves from the 90s and put ourselves in today's world, man, we would smack the crap out of ourselves, man. We have literally given everything over to the corporations. We have given them everything that we own, ourselves, our souls, our privacy, everything, with a click of a button, man. Like our 90s versions of ourselves would have kicked our own asses and been like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? It's like as each generation continues on, I worry that the evolution gets to the point where there's de-evolution, where it devolves quickly, because people that get born in each new generation don't even realize they're getting sucked in. They don't even realize there is an out. That's trippy to think about. That's trippy to think about.
Again, in the best time to be alive, the most empowered time to be alive, and you're choosing, if you're part of this, to complain. And instead of using every ounce of your energy and focus to alleviate this problem that is going on and empower yourself, enrich yourself, make yourself healthy, you're instead saying, no, I'm going to take my hard drive, I'm going to dedicate it towards the culture war. What a waste. What?
Your brain only has so much hard drive space. He's right on that. Your brain has only so much hard drive space. There ain't much in this thing. Trust me. Sorry. Shut up, Pepe. Shut up. Yeah, but there isn't. And you can only store so much. And so like the more you're plugged in, the more space you're taking up by like senseless BS. And the less you have for things that matter. And you got to get your health right too. Like you do, you have to focus on the health. It's very important.
What a waste, because participating in this culture war is going to give you no ROI. The only thing that's going to save you, the only thing that's going to give you any form of defense is gaining power. And you know how to do that? You turn off all this crap. You stop looking at these influencers who are essentially, I hate to break it to you, they find out what you're frustrated about. They realize they get lots of likes and attention if they just keep complaining. How many YouTube channels do you see? And all they do is complain about the left and wokies. And then what do? Oh, they make money from doing that. And then they also start selling stuff. They make a lot of money doing it. You notice a lot of people on the base side are getting rich. Did you notice Ben Shapiro's making like $100 million a year now? Making you mad? Kind of strange. Did you notice when wokeness was becoming a thing? What happened with all the woke influencers? They started making all this money. They got rich from being woke and making woke people mad. And then they're just kind of fading into the shadows now. They're going to go live their life and be rich, and all the woke people are going to be left around embarrassed.
I love how you guys are changing my perception of Alex right now. It's interesting what's happening.
Well, what do you think's happening right here? You need to stop fighting a war for the culture war. You need to stop fighting a war for influencer. You need to start only focusing on the war for yourself. Because the only thing that's going to pay you ROIs for your focus energy is your focus on you. Not this. Not dedicating your attention to other people and what they want you to be mad about. No, take all that power back, put the blinders on, get to work. Because for the rest of your life,
You know, and the sad thing is that is the most common sense thing, right? I think that there's a lot of people in this room specifically that understand exactly what he's saying and don't need to hear it. You know what? I'm very proud of all of you.
Yes, sir. Can I get an amen?
Like, I'm very proud of everybody for the fact that they completely understand that you have to be committed and do these things on the daily. You wake up and you know that you have to do these things, man. You have no other situation other than to have to do these things, right? I love my chat, man. I love my chat. I love it. I love it.